G'day and welcome back to the channel, Walking Cairns. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take us for a walk, so we can go for a walk up Palm Cove. It's one of my favourite beaches. Maybe down to Clifton Beach. You can see the jetty and Double Island in the back there, in the background. Just have a look there, somewhere out there. Can't quite see the screen from here, but yes, it's out there somewhere. And we're going to walk down to Clifton Beach and past those wonderful coconut palms that are growing outside NuNus restaurant. But what I thought I'd do today is, as I said, something a bit different. Just recently, people have been asking me about the weather and the climate in Cairns. So I thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover while we do the walk, explaining about the climate of Cairns. Okay, that'll be a voiceover, so I'll do that when I get home. That way it'll be a lot more concise and not a lot of waffle that most of these walks usually are. So don't forget, if you do like it, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. See you next time, and thanks for tuning into the channel. Bye. Well, as I said in the intro, we're going to do something a bit different today. I'm going to do this voiceover to a walk in beautiful Cook Cove here. People have been asking me about the climate and the weather in Cairns, so I thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover to try and explain to the best of my ability what the weather is like in Cairns. Well, as we walk along here in beautiful Cook Cove, you can see that Cook Cove comprises 3 beaches. In the north is Palm Cove, and you can see that in the video now. There's Double Island and Haycock Island, and there's the jetty. And in the middle of Cook Cove, it's a fairly large section, that's Clifton Beach. And towards the south of Cook Cove is Queensland Beach. It's a beautiful cove. It really is absolutely amazing. It's like living in paradise. Now, if you look at the geography of Cook Cove, you'll see that Palm Cove faces southeast. Clifton Beach faces more east, and Queensland faces more to the northeast. Now, in winter, we are under a primary influence of the southeast trade winds, which means that Palm Cove gets basically blasted by the trade winds because it faces towards the southeast. Clifton Beach isn't so much affected because the winds come in at about a 45-degree angle because the beach faces east, and Queensland is even luckier because the wind comes in at 90 degrees, so it basically comes parallel to the beach, which means that if you're at Palm Cove, it can get a bit cool and a bit breezy in the afternoon in winter. But come about 6:30, when the heat comes out the land and the winds die down, it becomes very balmy and nice. Temperatures round about the 26 to 28 in winter. Now, we're living in the tropics here, and basically the tropics go from the Tropic of Capricorn up to the Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Capricorn here on the eastern seaboard is where Rockhampton is. So anywhere north of Rockhampton in Queensland is in the tropics. This is really dominated by the movement of the sun. The sun moves from the Tropic of Cancer over the equator to the Tropic of Capricorn each year, and with it drags the heat in the landmass with it as well. So the sun heats the landmass, and that basically drives the weather in the tropics. The sun creates what's called an intertropical convergence zone, where the winds from the north and the winds from the south meet and they converge. In Australia, we tend to call that the monsoon trough, and that moves with the passage of the sun. So in our winter, the monsoon trough, or the intertropical convergence zone, is in the northern hemisphere, and in our summer, it moves down to the southern hemisphere and sort of sits over Cairns or just south of Cairns. Now, what the intertropical convergence zone does is it pulls the wind in from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere and creates this rising air mass, which produces a lot of cloud and a lot of thunderstorms and a lot of rain, which is why we call it the monsoon trough. Now, in the winter months, the intertropical convergence zone or monsoon trough is in the northern hemisphere, so wind is being pulled into the monsoon trough from the south where we are, from a southeasterly direction, and these are what we call the southeasterly trade winds. They're fairly brisk, and they dominate our weather patterns in winter. Come summer, when the monsoon trough moves to the south and sits over Cairns or just south of Cairns, we get wind coming from more of a northerly direction. And these are actually the northeast trade winds from the northern hemisphere that are bending around the equator due to the Coriolis effect and coming to Australia from the northwest. And these are the monsoon winds, and with that it brings the rain. But most of Cairns' weather is really being dominated because it's basically sitting inside the monsoon trough, which delivers a fair bit of rain to Cairns. Cairns itself gets an annual rainfall somewhere around about 1,900 to 2,000 millimeters of rain a year. That's 2 meters of rain, so we get a fair bit of rain up here in Cairns, and it's basically very wet. So we in the tropics there's basically 3 tropical climate zones. There's the tropical equatorial rainforest, which is centered around where the equator is, and then there's the tropical monsoon climate, and then there's the tropical savanna climate. The difference between the tropical monsoon climate, which is what Cairns is, and the tropical savanna climate, which is what Darwin is or Townsville is the amount of rain we get in winter. Now, in a tropical monsoon climate, you get more rain in winter than you do in a tropical savanna climate. Basically, the feature of the tropical climates is that you get 2 basic seasons. You get a wet season or rainy season, and then you get a dry season. The dry season for us occurs in our winter months, as it does in Darwin and Townsville too, and it's less humid and drier. But in Cairns, we still get a bit of rain in our dry season. The difference is basically based on a formula. That is the difference between the tropical monsoon climate and the tropical savanna climate is based on a formula, and that formula is that in the driest month of winter, you get less than 60 millimeters of rain, and for a monsoon climate, you get more than 100 minus the annual rainfall divided by 25, which for Cairns means that the minimum rainfall in the driest month is between 60 millimeters and 20 millimeters. So if we get more than 20 millimeters and less than 60 millimeters, that's considered a tropical monsoon climate. And if we got less than 20 millimeters, we'd be classified as a tropical savanna climate. You can see here in the video we're going past the the estuary here, and at the moment it looks like it's sealed up. So the last time we came up here, the estuary was draining into the Coral Sea, but at the moment it looks like it's blocked up, as you'll see in a minute. I have to be careful when I'm filming around here because there are crocodiles in this these waters, and it's easy to get distracted. So you can see there, it's actually sealed up. The sandbar has sealed up the opening. Yeah, you have to be very careful when I'm doing this because I'm trying to look at the screen as well. That's Earl Hill in the background there. And then I'll turn around and I'll walk back up towards the north. Double Island, Haycock Island there, the little one. Scout Hut Island, the locals call it. And there's the famous palm trees I go on about. There's a little chapel there where people get married. Beautiful area. I love this part of the beach here. But you do have to be careful for the crocodiles because they are there. I've never seen one, but they are there. I've seen them in the ocean just offshore here. I've seen 3 crocodiles there, and they've closed the beaches of Kowara, Clifton, and Palm Cove because of it. So we'll turn around a minute and we'll walk back up. But while I'm doing that, I'll just say that we basically have the 2 seasons. That is the wet or the rainy season and the dry season. The dry season is you can split into 2 seasons. There's what we call winter, which is a drier and cooler part of the year, and slightly less humid. And that in Cairns, that runs from about mid-May to mid-September, and that's where during the peak tourist season up here in the northern beaches in Palm Cove, because it's quite cold down south in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, and up here it's drier and it's relatively warm, probably about 26, 28 degrees sometimes. And then after mid-September to about mid-December, the dry season starts to get a bit more humid and a lot hotter. So that's what we call the hot season. As I said, that goes from about mid-September to mid-September to mid-December, and that's swimming pool season and beach season. It's probably my favourite time of the year, really. And then from mid-December until mid-May, we have the wet season or the rainy season. Most of the rain seems to occur around about Christmas, New Year, definitely January and into parts of February. And then it starts to break up a bit, but we still get a fair bit of rain back to April, sometimes even in May. That wet season, when the monsoon trough is over us, corresponds to cyclone season as well, because cyclones, or those low pressure systems, can be generated within the monsoon trough. So basically, it's the same as cyclone season. So that's it. We have basically 3 seasons: a wet season from mid-December to mid-May, a winter or a cooler, dry season from mid-May to mid-September, and then we have a hot and a slightly more humid dry season from about mid-September to mid-December. So that's basically it. Everybody refers to the seasons as spring, autumn, winter, and summer, but we don't really get that up here in the tropics. It's basically 2 main seasons, wet and dry, and 3 seasons really, if you want to break the dry season up into a cooler dry season with less humidity and a hot dry season with more humidity. But we still get rain in the dry season here, anywhere between about 20 and 60 millimeters per month. So if you come up here for a holiday, you can still get rain. That's what makes us a monsoon climate. And it's also why we've got rainforest. You only get rainforest where you get precipitation throughout the year. If you had really dry seasons like a savanna climate like Darwin and Townsville, then you wouldn't get rainforest, or at best like Darwin you might get some remnant rainforest where you've got microclimates where it rains at a bit more than normal. So that's it. It's if you book for a 2-week holiday, you could still get rain, is what I'm trying to say. So that's what makes us green, basically. If you look at the video here, everything's green. Now this video is taken in mid-May, so we're just going into we're just coming out of wet season, going into the cool, dry season. And we're under the influence of the southeasterly trade winds at the moment, which you can see. It's blowing in the trees there. It also means it's a bit cooler, especially at night. If you're coming up from down south in winter down there and you come up here, you probably won't think it's cool at night, but locals will think it's cool at night. So people like me would be wearing a wind cheater at night, whereas people coming up down south for a holiday are still in their singlets and shorts. So you can easily spot the locals. But as you can see, it's quite breezy here. These are the beautiful Palm Cove, beautiful palm trees, the coconut palms that were planted many years ago. And the alamanda's there, and so is the NuNus, which is the restaurant in the Alamanda. It's a beautiful place. I love this area. This area must be photographed so many times. Wish I had $1 for every time a photograph's been taken of these palm trees. I'd be a very rich man. As you can see, it's beautiful. Look, you can see the jetty in the background there. Double Island. It looks like they've replenished a lot of the sand too, because a lot of sand got washed away in the big rains we had earlier in the year. You can see the warning sign there, the yellow sign with the red on it. It says Actung. That's the warning to tell you that there are crocodiles in this area. And that means you shouldn't really go down close to the water's edge, especially in winter, because with the southeasterly trade winds, it tends to stir up the silt in the water close to the shore, and the water is no longer blue and clear. It's a browny, silty colour. In summer, which is the dry season and when the wind drops down, the silt drops out and the water goes blue. But at the moment, because of the wind, the silt is stirred up close to the shore. If you go out a short distance, it goes blue again and clear. But look at those coconut palms, beautiful, aren't they? Beautiful. Yeah, this is the start of tourist season. After Easter and the school holidays tends to pick up. So there's probably a few foreign visitors here. I never get enough of this view. I'm pretty much here every day or every second day, because I go for a coffee either here at NuNus or round the corner at Viva's cafe. Pretty much every day, because I do my YouTube stuff there while I'm having a coffee. I do everything on my mobile phone these days because my computer updated and there wasn't enough memory on the hard drive, so it's sort of all latched up. So I always have to fix that. I built the computer. In fact, I built lots of computers in the past. but I haven't bothered to build one recently because I've been doing a lot of traveling. I've been living in Abu Dhabi, living in Thailand, living all over the place, so I haven't been able to do that. Here's the corner, Viva's Road and the Williams Esplanade, and that's the old Chill Cafe and Portofino's there on the corner. You can see there on the left, just where those people are walking. Still deserted, although yesterday when I was walking down there, they were doing a fit out in Portofino's, so something must be happening there. Artistic shot there. We'll just go back on the beach here and walk up north to where I've got my car parked. Beautiful place, tropical. You sometimes take this for granted, really, but you know, when you're not used to seeing all this greenery and all this these tropical plants, it's amazing to see. But if you live here, you tend to take it for granted a bit. And people keep saying, the reason I did this voiceover is because people keep asking me, Steve, what's happening with the weather? Why is it still raining? Because once you get towards the end of rainy season up here, people can't wait for the rain to finish. They say, when will it stop raining? And people ask me, Steve, when's it going to stop raining? I did do a master's in atmospheric physics, so that's probably why they asked me. And when I used to train airline pilots, I studied meteorology and taught meteorology to students, so I do know a little bit about meteorology. Yeah, but very eclectic career, really. Certainly with my studies, my first degree, my undergraduate degree, I majored in physics and psychology, which is a bit different to each other. And then I did a dip ed, so I did an education degree, and then I did a master's in atmospheric physics, and I ended up doing a PhD in computer systems engineering in artificial intelligence. So I've had a wide range. In terms of my career at university, I've taught physics, I've taught photography, I've taught building science, I've taught radiography, and I've taught just about every aviation subject, and plus I've taught electronics as well. So I've taught in a wide area too. I was quite heavily involved in artificial intelligence or computational intelligence at one stage of my career. Previously, my first job was actually, when I graduated, I was actually a mechanical engineer for British Aerospace. I was involved in the design and development of guided missiles. So basically, missile scientist. People say it's not rocket science. Well, yeah, I used to actually do that. Then I got into lecturing when I came back to Australia. And then I got involved in aviation, and I went back and went into IT, artificial intelligence. I was studying that for years, 10 years, 15 years, and then I got a job back in aviation again in Abu Dhabi. So I became a professor and went over to Abu Dhabi to work with Etihad in Abu Dhabi University, and then I got headhunted back to Cairns to set up aviation programs here in the aviation facility out at the airport, the CQU, and then I thought it's my wife's turn to go to work, so I retired or quit my job, whatever you want to call it, and I looked after my daughter, and I still do, taking her to school and everything, and my wife goes to work now, so it worked out well. I'm a stay-at-home dad. Plus I do the YouTube as well. Look at that, beautiful. As I said, the sea is, well, the coral sea there is a bit dirty looking. It's because it's silted up because of the wave action. But you don't have to go too far offshore and it's clear again. There is a reef that goes between Double Island and Haycock Island there. It's called Haycock Reef. And they do turtle tours out there, so there's a fair few turtles swimming around out there. Beautiful part of the world, really. Tropical paradise, really is. The other thing people ask me on is pool chemistry. I studied pool chemistry as well. So maybe I'll do a video on pool chemistry, because up here, pool chemistry is a bit difficult. Because of the 2 meters of rain we get, your pool water turns over a lot, so you get a lot of problems with maintaining chemical balance in your pool, especially during wet season. And the pool's overflowing and the salt pouring out, and having to top up the salt. I had to put 160 kilos of salt in my pool just before I left for Thailand, and I dare say, because it rained when I was in Thailand, I dare say I have to put another 80 or 100 kilos of salt in my pool. So maintaining the balance is tricky. I'm trying to sort out somebody's pool at the moment because their pH was really high, and then it went low, and then it come back high again. So I'm sorting out the problems with that person's pool at the moment. So maybe if another couple of people ask me about their pools, maybe I'll do a little video on pool chemistry and how to keep it balanced up here in Cairns. No, when I say balanced, I mean my pool is a big pool. It's about 125,000 litre pool. It's 3 meters deep at one end, 12 meters long, 5 meters wide. I basically put no chemicals in except salt during the rainy season. So I've got this thing balanced really good. It's in what we call equilibrium with the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and that's what I try and get people to do. Get the pool balanced or in equilibrium with the atmosphere, and then you don't have to add much, hardly any chemicals. Other people are adding chemicals all the time, but you can get your pool so you don't really have to add anything. You just have to understand the chemistry. Oh, there's my car up there somewhere. So I'll sign off and I'll see you next time. Take care.